Hey, Jakey. Mommy told me that you had a couple of rough days at school, and I wanted you and I to have a man-to-man talk about it. Um, and hopefully, um, my words will give you some perspective. Um, because, Bud, that's really all us grown-ups can give you right now. Um, the path that you're on, I know how you feel. Joey knows how you feel, and there's a few other people that know how you feel. You feel like you don't fit in. You feel like you're an outsider. You feel like um, you might feel insecure about yourself. You might feel like you don't have anyone there for you. And that's a horrible feeling. It's a horrible feeling, buddy. And that's it's something that if I could wave a magic wand, I would spare you that hurt. I really would. It's no fun. But what? So first, let's start there. I want you to know that there will be times when even if you can't figure out, you can't name someone who believes it. I want you to know that you're an amazing young man and that you have so many things going for you. You're smart and creative and funny, and you're observant and you're insightful. And I know none of that matters from me. None of that matters from your mom. You want that to be from your peer group. I get it. And that's totally understandable. That's totally understandable. But I don't want you to ever, in your heart of hearts, just remember that you're a word spoken by God. You know, God doesn't just make people like in an assembly line. God had to name you. I'm going to make Jake Schaefer, just like he had to name me. I'm going to make Jeff Caparizzo. I'm going to make Jenny Schaefer. I'm going to make Jacelyn Schaefer. You know, he had to name us. He didn't just churn us out. He picked us to come into existence. And so he chose you, Jake. And I don't want to get all God squad on you. I know that's not really what you need right now. But apart from believing in your heart of hearts that you're a special person, and you are, and you have a lot to offer, it sometimes helps to realize that this doesn't just happen, it just hasn't just happened to you. You know, that you're in really good company. When you feel like an outsider and you feel like you don't have any friends and you feel like you don't fit in, there's a lot of people, amazing people, who felt the same way you did, right? And I looked up a list of them, and I'm going to put this in the chat. I mean, in the messages in this video. 21 famous people who were unpopular in high school and junior high school. All right? So some of these, you know, Ryan Gosling, just in the Barbie movie, right? He said he grew up around a lot of girls and realized none were interested in him, and they would openly talk about other boys around him. And why? Because he wasn't a jock. He wanted to dance. And so they thought he was kind of a weirdo, you know? Selena Gomez. She said of her time in school, if my cousin wasn't captain of the cheerleading team, I would have been destroyed because I was just kind of a nerd and hung out with like one person. Okay? Does that sound familiar, right? So then, here's another one. Ryan Reynolds. He said he was a pariah in school. In other words, he was a huge outsider. Nobody wanted to talk to him. He said all three of his older brothers had been kicked out of the same school, and he ended up getting kicked out as well. So he was fighting his family name, you know. Here's somebody that you know, Tom Holland, who played Spider-Man. He said he was bullied about being a dancer after starring in Billy Elliot when he was 12. So think about how young he was. He was around your age. You couldn't hit me hard enough to stop me from doing it, he said. And he accepted that he wasn't cool and found his group of people. Okay? So these are just a few folks that Jake felt the same way, feel the same way, and felt the same way that you do right now. And what they teach us is that this phase, this challenge that you have is temporary. You're just like Tom Holland. You're going to find your tribe, buddy. You're going to find lifelong friends. And I know you're going to ask me, well, when, Jeff? When is that going to happen? I don't know. That's part of our journey. But you got to also look, Joey in middle school. You might not remember this. Jake, he was bullied for 3 years. He would hand out Skittles. I'll never forget it. Broke my heart. I said, why did you hand out Skittles during lunch? And he goes, because I just want people to like me. Okay? And Joey got through it, right? Like he made it through. He found a friend. He found Simon. If it wasn't for Simon, I don't know what would have happened at St. John's, to be honest. And then you're looking at me, Mr. Cap. I had a hard time because I just wanted to draw. I wasn't into sports, So like you saw your sister, she didn't have anyone to sit with her at the lunch table. I often sat alone. Now I had my sketchbook, but I knew that I was alone, And it wasn't until I found my guys in high school. But for junior high, I wasn't an athletic kid. I used to hang out with a lot of the girls. That continued in college. I went to my college orientation. Do you know who I hung out with at college orientation? The counselors that were assigned to make sure that people integrated. And I didn't have anyone to really sit with. And they felt so sorry for me that they were like, come sit at the counselor's table. And everybody was like, what's wrong with you? Why can't you, mix with other kids? I just didn't have that talent yet. So I don't want you, I know that this is hard. I know it's painful. I know it makes you cry. I cried, Joey cried. These folks I mentioned, they cried. It's okay to cry. Go ahead and cry. It's a horrible time sometimes. It really is. And kids can be so mean. But what you got to do is build inside you a vision of when it's not this way. And build inside you a vision of Jake as an amazing person. And part of your journey is to not be like Joey, and not be like me, and not be like Mom, and not be like Jacelyn. You can take different things from us, but you're going to have to learn how to be Jake and love yourself. And when you start loving yourself, other people will love you. And that's hard. It's really hard. Joey had to find that. That's why he lost all the weight. He was like, I don't want to be the fat kid. And he picked himself up in 7th and 8th grade, radically changed his diet, and changed who he was. And he got his confidence. He started to love himself. And that's the journey you're on, okay? I know this is a long video. It's too much talking, but we all love you. And don't forget that you are Jake Schaefer, and you're a word spoken by God. You're not an accident. You're not a mistake. You're an amazing, amazing person. And when you start to believe that, other people are going to believe that, and you're going to have an amazing, amazing group that loves you, that keeps growing. All right, so hang in there, and please talk to me and Mom whenever you feel down. I'll talk to you anytime you want. Okay? I love you, bud.